Hello there, sixth graders. Today we're taking a look at Module 2, Lesson 2, and it's interpreting division of a whole number by a fraction and using visual models. So your target goal is that you'll be able to use fraction bars, number lines, area models to show the quotient meaning division answer, of a whole number and fractions, and to show the connection between those models and the multiplication of fractions. And that you'll also be able to understand the difference between a whole number being divided by a fraction and a fraction being divided by a whole number. So we need to make sure we get that in the right order. The first part of this is your problem of the day, and you're in partners. So you've already done that, so I'm going to go ahead and skip over that part. And we're going to take a look at example 2. Example 2 is on page 15 in your textbook. And it starts with Molly using 9 cups of flour to bake bread. If this is 3/4 of the total amount of flour she started with, what was the original amount of flour? So let's look at that. We're going to start with a tape diagram. Okay, so let's get ready and draw. There we go. I've got my tape diagram, and I'm looking at it, and I see that we're talking about fourths. So I need to label fourths. Now, first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to show that this right here, this section, is what we're hunting for, okay? So we're hunting for what was the total that we started with, okay? And we know we have this cut in fourths, so if I cut it in half, and then I cut each half in half, I have fourths. And I have used 3/4. Do you see that? So I'm going to go ahead and shade in these 3 of the 4 pieces that I've already used. And then it says, we know that what we used was also called 9 cups. So this right here, these 3 little boxes that we have, equal 9 cups. If that's the case, we now need to go down here and explain how we determine the answer. And we've done all of this work. Well, if we know that this was 9 cups, each one of these was 3, because I had 9 cups divided into 3 boxes. Each one is 3, meaning this one is also 3. So in order to determine my answer, what I did is I divided 9 by 3 to get my 3 units that were in each box. And then I said, well, I had 4 boxes, so 4 times 3, and I already told you we're doing raised dots. So I don't know what I'm thinking. There we go. 4 times 3, which is 12, and 12 what? Cups. She started with 12 cups of flour. Perfectly easy, right? All right, next one. On exercise 1 through 5, we are now on page 16 and 17. And the first one says, a construction company is setting up signs on 4 miles of the road. If the company places a sign every 1/8 of a mile, how many signs will it take? In your book, it says every 2 miles. So we want to make sure that this right here is for 2 miles. So if it's not, go ahead and change that, okay? So as we take a look at this, we're going to go ahead and start again with our tape. And we are going to have to cut this. But first, before I actually cut it, I'm going to mark my 2 miles. Okay, so I know that this whole thing right here is equivalent to 2 miles. And then I know that I want to mark it, ugh, and this is also 1/4. It was 1/4 miles in your book. Every 1/4 of a mile. So if this is 2 miles, right here is 1, and the second half is 1. But in each of these miles, we're cutting it into 4ths. So we need 4 pieces, which is 3 cuts. 1, 2, 3. And then in my second mile, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to actually use a different color here to show where my halfway mark is of a mile. So each one of these is now a 4th. So if you look at it, 1/4 plus another 4th is 2/4, plus one more is 3/4, plus another is 4/4, which is the whole mile. And there we go. We have that labeled. And what we need to do is see how many signs will it use to do it every 4th of a mile. Well, we need to take and count how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So how many will it take? It should take 8 signs, which is taking 2 and dividing it by 4th. When we do that, if we did it keep, change, flip, it would be 2 times 4/1, which is also the way that we can say how many 4ths in 2. So in our 2 miles, how many 4ths were there? There were 8. It will take 8 signs. So essentially you put a sign here, here, here. There's our 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 signs. All right, let's look at number 2. Number 2 says, George bought 4 submarine sandwiches at a birthday party. If each person will eat 2/3 of a sandwich, how many people can George feed? Making sure that that's the problem in your book also. Yes, it is. So I want to go ahead and change these numbers on this slide. That's 4 sandwiches and 2/3 of a sandwich here. And how many can he feed with our 4 subs? Okay, so let's take a look. We started with our 4, so we need to draw our 4 subs. Okay, there's our sub sandwich, nice and long, and we need 4 of them, right? So I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half. There's my half of a 2. There's 2 subs. There's 4 subs. Okay. And now we look at what we're looking at right here is what we're cutting it into, because we're talking about thirds. So when we cut our sub, we need to have each sub to be cut in 3 pieces. So 1, 2, 3. Here's a third. Oops. Here's a third, and here's a third. Again, 2 more cuts here. So if you notice, as we're doing this, each sub adds up to a whole sub, because a third, and a third equals 3/3, which is the whole thing. And there we go. Now, as we're doing this, if all of those were 1/3, but it looks like each person here is going to get 2/3. So when we're looking at this, we need to say, well, we need to talk in 2/3. So this is one group. So this is one person. Okay. Here is a person. Here is a person. Because each of them are getting 2 of those pieces. So I'm coloring every other one. And then it looks to me, did I miss one? Nope. And there we go. All right. So as we go to write this then, we had our 4 subs divided by 2/3. So we said how many 2/3 went into this sub? Well, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Should equal 6. So how many people can we feed? 6 people. If we did it mathematically, keep, change, flip, we can cross cancel. 2 times 3 is 6 over 1, which is just 6. So we can feed 6 people.